Hi friends, and welcome back once again to my channel Divine Traveler, the tale behind the stone walls. I begin a fresh new episode number 9 here, in which I would be covering our journey from day number 36 to day number 38. In this particular episode, I would be discussing about our scintillating journey from starting from Tenali, move towards east into Suryaranka beach, covering few temples, and then again move towards west as we move to our final destination, Markapur. On day 36, we started from our hotel at Tenali and our first destination, the temple complex of Chebrolu. Chebrolu is a village in Guntur district of Indian state of Andhra Pradesh. It serves as the Mandal headquarter of Chebrolu Mandal in Tenali Revenue Division. It was once a Buddhist site and territorial capital of Kakatiya dynasty. The archaeological excavations revealed Buddhist artifacts of Satavahana and Ikshvaku period. During this period, it was also known as Tamrapuri. Chebrolu is famous for the Chaturmukha Brahma temple. The term Chaturmukha translates to four-faced, and the temple's idol of Lord Brahma is carved with four faces symbolizing the four Vedas, Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda and Atharvaveda, and the four directions north, south, east and west. This representation is meant to show that Lord Brahma oversees all creation and his wisdom extends in every direction. The early names of Chebrolu was Tamarapa and Tamaraba. Tamra in Sanskrit relates to copper. This place was known for copper and copper-related articles since ancient times. Copper alloy utensils are called Chembu in Telugu, seems to be the reason behind the modern name Chebrolu. The Sri Chaturmukha Brahmalingeshwara Swami temple here, along with a clutch of other older temples dating to the reign of Cholas, Chalukyas, Pallavas and Kakatiya dynasties, form a fascinating circuit of temples and ancient structures in the fertile landscape of Lower Krishna Basin. The most recent records mention that the Chaturmukha Brahmalingeshwara Swami temple was built by Raja Vasireddy Venkatadri Naidu about 200 years ago. But the history of this place confirms that the temple must have been rebuilt on an existing temple. This is one of the few temples dedicated to Lord Brahma, although he is worshipped here along with Lord Shiva. It was a regional fort for the Pallava, Chalukyas and Kakatiya empires. It became famous during the rule of Kakatiyas, particularly during the rule of Jayapa, who ruled this during Ganapati Deva's time. Jayapa's sisters were married to Ganapati Deva, the well-known Kakatiya emperor. Jayapa also wrote a celebrated writing on Indian dance, Nritya Nattavali. Though the exact date of temple's construction is debated, it is believed to have been built during the Chola or the Eastern Chalukya period. Its historical roots and fascinating myths associated with it make it an important cultural and spiritual destination. According to legend, Bhrigu Maharishi cursed Lord Brahma that he would not be worshipped on earth. That is the reason why a Shivalinga with carving of Brahma on its four sides were consecrated at this temple instead of a separate idol for him. Architecturally, the complex has multiple temples, most of which follow typical Dravidian style of architecture with gopurams and shikhara above sanctums. However, the main Chaturmukha Brahma temple has a simple sanctum with a small shikhara which is beautifully situated in the middle of a pond tank. The Brahma temple is surrounded by two Shiva temples on east and west, two Vishnu temples on north and south. Additionally, four temples of goddess Shakti are there in the four corners of the compound, manifested in different incarnations. One of the unique features of the temple is the Garbhagriha or Sanctum Sanctorum, which is surrounded by beautifully carved pillars. These pillars are not only architecturally stunning but also hold mythological significance, depicting scenes from Hindu epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata. After visiting Chebrolu, our next destination was the Bhavanarayana temple at Ponnur. The Sakshi Bhavanarayana Swami temple at Ponnur, Guntur district, Andhra Pradesh is a temple dedicated to Lord Vishnu, known as Bhavanarayana and Goddess Lakshmi. It is one of the five temples with this name and is located 30 kilometers from Guntur. The temple also has a separate shrine for Hanuman. The temple is dedicated to Lord Vishnu in his Bhavanarayana form, which means the god who bestows salvation. This temple was built by the king Nalapa Raju in the 11th century AD. Later, this temple was renovated by Chola king Potulunga. It is said that this temple equals 108 Tirupati temples. Goddess Rajya Lakshmi shrine is located within the temple complex. Rathotsavam is a festival which is celebrated in grand style. The temple is also known as Sakshi Bhavanarayana, meaning witness in Telugu. The name is associated with a story about a Brahmin who made a promise to his brother in law in front of Lord Vishnu, who then became the witness. The temple houses a separate shrine for goddess Lakshmi and Hanuman. Starting with Raja Vasireddy Venkataravi Naidu, the temple has undergone restoration multiple times. It is believed that Lord Brahma used to take a bath at Brahma Pushkarini temple tank while performing penance at Gostivanam.